Looks like you've been missing a lot of work lately.
I wouldn't say I've been missing it, Bob.
What would you say you do here?
God damn it. Bob, we love playing here tonight. My brother's ready.
It helps if you think of it as a game, Bob. Every game has a winner and a loser.
You must possess strength to inflict pain, Bob.
Hello and welcome to the Two Bobs Cast. This is episode 59. 59. We're getting up there. But welcome to the Two Bobs Cast. We're an A to Z rock and metal podcast coming at you almost every week. Picking a band that we like. Sometimes we like it, sometimes we don't. But picking a popular band usually, ranking their albums, talking about all the fun things that Mr. H can find for the band and all of our live experiences seeing them. And boy, do we have a treat today talking about seeing a band live many times over the years.
Yes.
Of course, Cleveland's own Mushroomhead, which of course, as our common listeners know, we are from the Cleveland area. So to us, this is like our band, band that we've seen from the ashes. So excited to get into that. Let me introduce to you once again my partner and esteemed colleague of the Two Bobs Cast, Mr. H. How you doing, Mr. H? What's going on?
Really, really good. It's a fun week with Mushroomhead. Yeah, imagine living in a city, growing up in a city with that one of your favorite bands ever ends up growing from there, and these guys are basically the same age that you are.
Mm-hmm.
So when they're in their early to mid 20s, you're in your early to mid 20s, and you have a job and you have money, and like you can literally go see them like I said to you, like 20 times a year. Like they play all over regionally all the time, like it's it's something you can't even dream up. You know what I mean? Can you imagine? Like, I can, people like that live in Des Moines, Iowa, say like watch Slipknot for 4 or 5 years or whatever before they got big. They can say that too. But it's just so, I can't imagine what it'd be like to grow up in Seattle around the time that the whole grunge thing hit and all those bands were coming up. Then you could have gone anywhere, any night. Like here, it was just Mushroomhead, but still, it wasn't just Mushroomhead though. I have to say, I shouldn't have said that because it was not just Mushroomhead. There were other great bands in this area or around that time. It's kind of like the tide raises all boats kind of thing, like Mushroomhead got good, and then everybody else had a standard to try to live up to, So there was a lot of good metal around here around that time too. So it was great. It was absolutely great. So, and I was excited to go back through their catalog, some of which I've just completely worn out, and but I told you that it was difficult to start and go through it chronologically in a way. So, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah.
But so I'm doing great. Feeling good. I'm glad you're well. You're going on a trip next week. I heard you say we're here most weeks because next week we won't be.
Yeah.
But
like it's easy to say, we're here every single week when we do like 7 in a row,
Yeah.
We
it's
took
probably 46, 48 out of 52 weeks, I would say. It's pretty close.
It's pretty close.
We probably got a pretty good average, I think. But.
Yep. Absolutely. Now, Swag Dubs. I don't know who Swag Dubs is, but the picture looks a lot like my buddy Brian S. So I don't know. We'll have to see if it's the same guy or not, but it is definitely Brian S. So Swag Dubs says these guys are why he took care of his hearing my whole life. Saw them at the Flying Machine and
Was that
Room
in
Museum.
Massillon? That one? The
No,
Flying
that's out in
Machine?
Lorraine.
No, the Massillon was just the Machine. I think.
Oh yeah, right.
I think it was just the Machine. That place was ridiculously loud too, like way louder than Peabody's was. The Machine in Massillon. I saw them there 4 or 5 times probably. My brother and I counted in about the year 2000 how many times we had seen them together, and like looking through ticket stubs and kind of going back through the different kind of landmark shows, like the Halloween show, where they used to have a like an old school show in between Christmas and New Year's, and those were like huge events, right? So we would definitely remember how many of those we've been to, and then we had ticket stubs and other stuff. We had seen them 27 times between 1995, 96,
Jeez.
and in the year 2000. 27 times, so I can't imagine how many times it's up to now, because they still play here a lot,
Right.
multiple times a year. But yeah, they're fantastic. It's one of the best live shows you'll ever see, or it used to be one of the best live shows you'll ever see. The Halloween show, which is this Saturday, is still one of the best live shows you'll ever see. Like visually, artistically, like they have trees planted on the stage. They have a giant like moon, like a blood moon behind as a backdrop. Like it's ridiculously amazing. Sometimes they come on, they have pumpkins lit up all over the stage. Like fans will bring in carved pumpkins, and they're like, bring your pumpkins in, and they'll line the whole stage with them all lit up. It's fantastic what they do for Halloween shows. Like, but it makes total sense too. So
Yeah.
but anyhow, yeah, we had seen them a lot, and I don't know, it's got to be 70 times or something by now. Just so many, all those years ago. That was 25 years ago. We'd seen them 27 times. So anyway, on to it.
All right, swag dubs again. These guys are where I stopped jumping into mosh pits. Tried once at a Blossom show, bounced out onto my ass immediately. Decided mosh pits aren't my scene.
Brian S. Swag dubs.
I'm pretty
So
sure I
good.
was at that
That's his
Blossom
picture.
show with you. Did they
Was that the one
headline
with? Was that the one they opened for Disturbed? I think that's the one they opened for Disturbed, right?
I don't know. Did they?
Jeff came out and he had a great big chicken head, a big cock hanging from his from a belt, like right in front of his junk there. It was hilarious. I have a million pictures of that too, because I was in the pit for that one.
Oh,
At
so
Blossom.
swag dubs and Mr. H might have been in the pit together.
Oh, if you'd seen Mushroomhead any time during there,
Yeah.
and we're in the pit, you ran into me at some point, because I was in all of them. So all of them. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Again, I think they were there at a headlining show, and I can't remember when that was, but yeah, I remember that too, Brian. They were headlining. I'm gonna check real quick.
Yeah, don't remember that one. I know they played with Disturbed there. It was a great one, and it ended up being like almost pavilion only. There was very few people on the lawn for that one. It was Mushroomhead, Disturbed. I can't remember who else. I'm trying to remember. Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah,
we'll get to that. You can look that up at some point while I'm doing a lot of yapping, because I'm probably going to.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and toss it to you. Let's get rolling.
All right, man. Formed in 1993 in the Warehouse District of Cleveland, Ohio, which is, I believe, the West 6th area over there, where Pumpkinhead used to have his bus set up until the city said, you can't do that anymore. And now all the businesses are crying because they're not getting any money. But anyway, right over there, as a side project, by members of various other local bands, the members decided to all wear costumes and face paint, makeup, and masks, especially so they weren't recognized as members of other bands. Not because they were worried about their bands being mad at them or whatever, but to kind of stop preconceptions of what the band would sound like, because it was really born out of keeping an open mind. They didn't want you to be a fan of Purgatory or whatever, or Jeff Hatrick's solo, band Hatrix, and think that this band's going to sound just like that, to kind of come in and just be blown away. And that's what they did to people. So the 8-member group, they played their first show in 1993, and a few days later got a call to open for Guar at the Agora. So their second show ever. Skinny tells the story often. He mentions that it's at the sold-out Agora and in front of 2,000 people, but the Agora doesn't hold 2,000 people. So it's kind of funny, that he keeps saying it's 2,000 people. But I mean, it holds like 1,500, but I don't think they've ever put 2,000 people in there.
Right.
But anyway, so that was their second show ever. I mean, so they definitely made an impression and got people's attention pretty much right away. Their members will change often, with the only original member still left being Steve Skinny Felton, who was original drummer, but now he kind of plays water drums. He does other things. He doesn't even really play drums live anymore and hasn't for some time now. The original 8 musician members were Steve Felton, Jeff Hatrix, JJ Sekula. Steve Felton on drums, Jeff Hatrix, vocalist, JJ Sekula on guitar, Richie Moore on guitar, Joe Lenke with DJ Virus, plus, of course, non-musicians Roxy, who is Jessica Haney, and Bronson, who are Marko Vukovic. In 1995, they kind of self-financed their own album. And Roxy and Bronson used to be like, they used to come out on stage with like spotlights, or they'd bring all the confetti out. Like they ended up with these giant bags of confetti that they'd bust open. There'd just be stuff all over the place once the show was over. But they used to be out there with like that stuff, and Roxy would be out there dancing in her thong, and she was hot, So of course everybody loved that. So anyway, so in 1995 they financed their debut album, called it Mushroomhead. Came out in June of 1995. I don't even know what day. It was kind of just a local thing, They were just selling it at shows, and you could find it in some record stores around here, but it didn't really get like a whole lot of distribution. But it came out in June 1995. There's 14 tracks on here. It was recorded at Mars Studios here in the suburbs of Cleveland with Bill Korecki, who is a local, I wouldn't say like legend, but he's one of the guys around here that's produced albums locally, that he was like the best guy around here, So, and you can definitely hear that. Not so much on the first album as much, but you can definitely hear it on other albums that he's done. I feel like this was a hard band to capture in an album setting. There's a lot of tracks, there's a lot of members, there's a lot of things going on. There's movie clips, there's all kinds of stuff going on that probably is really hard to really fit together or get good at right away. So this album, I do have a note in here that it doesn't sound great. It doesn't sound terrible, but it doesn't sound great. Like you get to the next album, you're like night and day. You're like, man, I can't believe how much better this album sounds than the first one. But it was the same guy, same production, same place. So I mentioned movie quotes. I love the movie and TV quotes and samples in there. It starts off right away with an instrumental with a sample of the movie Reefer Madness mixed in. Slow Thing is the name of the song. It's fantastic. Like I heard that, and like right away I'm like, oh man, am I gonna love this band? It's just something about it. There's like heavy, like kind of brooding guitar work. It's like heavy metal, but like you have this, blasted joint thing like on loop in the background, and I'm like, what am I listening to? Like this is ridiculous. So there's so many influences by all these members too. There's 8 musicians in the band at this time. So there's so many influences from all these different members. Music has elements of like techno, industrial, kind of moody, atmospheric rock like Pink Floyd, hard rock, rap, like metal, sometimes thrash even. Like there's elements of so many different things in here, and you can kind of definitely pick up all the pieces. That's why it had to be pretty hard to put all this together, because live they could pull it off. They're all playing, and it always sounded great, but I imagine it had to be hard to record. The lyrics also by Jeff and Jeff Hatrix, Jeffrey Nothing as he goes by now, or J-Man, Jason Popson are so cool. The phrases are like deep and thought-provoking languages everywhere, like all over the place. Like you're like, man, how do they come up with this stuff? And it rhymes, and like these guys are gifted lyricists too, which you can hear on basically all the albums that they're involved with. Now that kind of gets sad when these guys leave, because they're definitely go down a path where they're a shell of themselves now. But we'll get to that. My favorites, just too many to mention on this album. Indifferent, later on in the album, track number 9, is one of my favorite Mushroomhead songs of all of them. And there are many, many that I love. And that one is way, way up there. Like that one, when I first listened to this whole album, that one I was like, man, that one I'm never going to get sick of. it's fantastic. It kind of has all of their elements all together in one song, which a lot of their stuff does, and it's kind of all over the place. But I do have a skipper on this one, and that's Mommy. Like, it's funny, having like porn sounds over top of Schmatz, and I'm going to talk about Schmatz probably a lot during this podcast. He, to me, is just a huge part of this band. He's such a phenomenally gifted like piano / keyboard player. The stuff that he writes, like, he's got a ton of writing credits, and all of this stuff. He has these solo pieces on this album that are just ridiculously good, and he sounds amazing playing underneath this porn sound. But like when you're 22, 23, that's like funny. But now I'm like, I just want to skip it, because as much as I like listening to Schmatz play, I just don't like listening to just the constant moaning, and like it's too much. So anyway, but I have this as an A-. I have this as number 3 out of their 9 albums. I docked it a bit for sound quality and the Mommy kind of misfire, but like I said at the time, I always listen to it. But everything else about this album, I absolutely love. It was so new and fresh, unlike anything that you had ever heard, or really, I've never heard anything like it since. This album anyway. Even probably up until their more recent stuff, you will never find anything out there that sounds like them. In the first like 6 albums, it's just there's nobody out there that does all of what they do and pull it off in such a great like way that they do. But anyway, I was hooked forever, and the live shows were an event every single time. They were absolutely amazing live shows. It was always like kind of something different. They used to hang dolls from string like by the head, like all over the inside of the Peabodys, and you could like they would encourage you to jump up and rip them down and like take them home with you or whatever. And the next time there'd be a whole bunch more. Like, they did so much crazy stuff that you're like, it just sounds like so much fun, to do all this stuff and put all this together. They did all their own backdrops, all their own like overlays, like that went over the cabinets, or like they had a banner that went above. They did all their own logo work. Like they're these people are artists as well as musicians. Like, like I said, I could go on and on and on. You could don't let me go too far. I have this as an A- number 3. What did you think of the self-titled debut of Mushroomhead?
Well, they never say to each other, "Let's smoke a marijuana cigarette." They say, "Let's turn it on," or
blast a joint.
Blast a joint. Blast a joint. Blast a joint.
Oh,
awesome.
Man, welcome into the world of the LSD user. Like, it's just, it starts out with that, and you're like, what am I doing?
Right. No, this. So number 1, I'll go back to say Brian's quote. Mushroomhead did kick off the Blossom Music Center season of 2000 on Saturday, March 13th. They headlined Blossom with special guest Runt, NDE, and Detroit Avenue. So it was a local show. It must have been on some side stage or something.
Yeah.
If it was in grass. Now, again, unless it was...
It probably was, and I wasn't there, because there's no way they sold enough seats for that to be on grass,
Yeah.
For the
exactly.
pit. They had to have had it like maybe at the top of the hill or something, which, they had stages all the time for
yes.
Fest, so
yes, they did.
Wouldn't surprise me at all. But I wasn't at that one. I don't know how, but I wasn't at that one.
Okay, so it was. Brian said it was main stage. So okay, interesting. I feel like
I missed that one.
Either I wasn't there. I feel like you and our buddy Steve was there for sure. I feel like I met up with you guys after or something. Either I did or I didn't go. Like with that,
I feel like I'd remembered if I was at that one. So I know I wasn't there. I know I saw him there with Disturbed, but I don't think I saw that one. I don't know. Maybe that was the one I was thinking of, where did Jeff come out with the cock on his belt like a fanny pack, but it had a big like chicken head on it? Do you remember seeing that? Anyway, so I was in the pit, and I remember I have all kind of pictures of that, but I don't know if that was the opening show of the venue that year, or if it was when they played with Disturbed. But anyway.
We will say early on, the band that me and Swag Dubs did together, it was very influenced by Mushroomhead for sure. We had a guy in our band that was a keyboard player that he basically played exactly like Mushroomhead stuff. So we were very Mushroomhead influenced until he left the band, and then then we got a little bit heavier, a little less reliant on those more classical type keyboards. But yeah, we did cover Simpleton off this album, and
Nice.
I mean, we had fun playing it. I think we had Brian some bad, like there were some people in there that didn't like Mushroomhead that were like yelling at us. There was some story behind it where I got mad and almost got into a fight with some kid because he was booing us, or it's like Mushroomhead sucks or whatever it was. And
There's always haters, right?
yeah,
Like when
especially
somebody
that
gets real
time.
big, they're always like, and those people never even went and saw him or whatever. They're just like, they don't like him just because you do. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, there's
Yeah.
always those people. But
Yeah,
I remember those folks.
Yeah.
There were always some.
Yeah, it was just like you couldn't associate with them or whatever.
But you never saw them at their shows, which was great.
Right? Yeah, no,
That's
their
what was
shows
so fun,
it
right.
was crazy. But
I remember seeing these.
this album, to me, it was. I didn't know what to expect going into this because I knew it didn't sound great, and with me, this album's always been a little bit weird, and it's a weirder band, you know, with some of the stuff that they do with all the sampling and all that, you know, very Rob Zombie-ish. It's really cool, I think, what they do. But this album to me is very like when they do real songs, I feel like it's really strong. I feel like they do a little bit too much meandering here with different things. Um, I think the highlights of this album are really strong. I love Elevation and Too Much Nothing. I definitely Second Thoughts is a phenomenal song. Simpleton, as we covered that song. 43, they still play that. Like that one is one of their most common live songs through the years. Awesome. But other than in between those things, there's a lot of instrumental intermission-y type things where it's just very disjointed. And it stands out to me a little bit more now to be a little bit more critical of it. It had started about where it did with you guys for me, but it kept dropping a little bit further down the list. For me, it's number 5. It's still a B record. I really, really like it, but to me, it doesn't flow like these next couple do with a lot more music. And when they do the samples, it feels like it flows better later, along with the production. Again, great songs on here. I definitely impressed that they come up with these songs so early on in their career. I do think they get better. I think the sound gets better, like you mentioned.
Yep.
But for sure, this one kind of set a mark for me, and then I moved this one a lot as I was going through these albums because I was trying to remember exactly how I felt listening to all these. So this one started at like 2, 3, and then it moved down and then up and then down. And so it ended up at 5. B record, really, really good. I do, and I will mention it later on, but once they got popular, they redid a lot of these songs on their XX release. And I actually like the version of those better in a lot of cases. They redid them, which of course then they had more money later on and they were able to put more money into the mix and stuff like that. So I think that's a big help when they do that album. A lot of these songs are on there. So that's good. But taking this album as it is just lands number 5 in a B.
All right. On to 1996. So we're only talking, this is 15 months later, September 13th, 1996, at the Sold Out Odeon for their CD release party.
Sorry, I missed 2 before you get too far. Swag Dubs had that at number 3 in a B also. So right along with he had it a little lower, but number 3.
Yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead.
No problem. 11 songs on this one. This was produced by Mushroomhead. There's nobody really listed. I would imagine, Steve Felton, whose name is on most of these, was probably involved. But I mean, he's kind of a do-it-all kind of dude. So another kind of independent release, but it sounds much, much better. Many of the songs on this one, as you mentioned, were remixed and re-released on Double X a number of years later. For kind of a national release. And there are some, obviously, from the first album, too. This is the first album with Pig Venus. Jack Kilcoyne, who's Joe. Joe was Mr. I'm gonna get through all their nicknames as I go here. Joe's nickname, Joe Kilcoyne. Think Kilcoyne. His name was Mr. Murder Nickel.
Yep.
So that's a great one. But Jack Kilcoyne, his brother, took over playing bass for this album, and he went with Pig Venus, and he had pig masks like you wouldn't believe. It was pretty funny. But Joe, his brother Joe Kilcoyne, does have a few songwriting credits here. This is also the last album for DJ Virus Joe Lanky. Continued between song movie dialogue clips that are just amazing. I love that. Although not as huge a list of different movies and TV shows and stuff as the first album, but like Twin Peaks, Fire Walk with Me. There's a few clips from there. You got Seven, Ed Wood. So there's some really classic movie clips in here that you can pick out while you're listening, like in between songs, not during the songs, but in between songs, which is it's just great. It just adds to the whole atmosphere. And like when you see them live, people, they know all the words to the scenes too, and they like would recite them like with it playing in the in the background. It's just it's so good. My favorite, this is everything on this album really is a favorite of mine. Like this is an A plus number one album for me. It's one of my favorite albums of all time. So it's really hard for me to choose songs off of this one because I like them all so much. I switched even early on, even 2-3 years after this came out, I still couldn't tell you what my favorite song was. Like it changed all the time. So I'd say the first four are just ridiculously good. Just, I mean, way out there good. Where the first time I heard them, I'm like these like you said, like they. And the first album, it's kind of like they were like we say a lot of bands about a lot of bands. They were trying to figure out their sound. Like they were trying to kind of figure out what they wanted to do. They wrote these songs, they played them, people liked them, but they're kind of all over the place, like you said. On this one, there's more of like a focus down to like this is kind of more of a sound that we wanted to put forth, and the songwriting is just spectacular, man. It's so good with Womp and Never Let It Go, These Filthy Hands, and The Wrist. The Wrist is also again another one of my favorite Mushroomhead songs ever. It's so good. I have a shirt that I had the J-Man sign on the back that said Greedo died by the hands of Solo. That's out of The Wrist. Like they even have movie. They even their lyrics sometimes deal with movies and talk about the movies. It's so good. But Unintended, like what a dark, beautiful piece of music. Where I was talking about Schmatz, like it's an instrumental, but it's a beautiful, beautiful piece of music, and it's like something you could hear at Severance Hall from the Cleveland Orchestra or something. Like it's that good to me. It sounds so good. It's so dark. It's something I play at Halloween, and the kids will come up to your house when you have it blasted. And it's just instrumental. It just sounds dark and like evil. It's so good. I love that one too. Skippers, there's obviously no Skippers here. Again, one of my favorite albums of all time. A plus, number one. This one, this is where I was telling her a little bit earlier. This is kind of where they really blew up in the area. Like they started selling out every show, and they would go further and further to play in venues, and they would sell them all out. And before this, you could go see them, but a lot of times you could get tickets the day of the show. It would be pretty full, but it was at tinier places like Peabody's, like places that hold like 500-600 people. Well, now they're playing like the Agora that holds 1,500 people, like I said, or places that size, and they're selling them out. And you got to get tickets when they go on sale. You're not going, So they were getting big around this time, and it's because this album is so incredibly good. The buzz just went in waves out from the center like a bomb hit here or something. Like this is what really got everybody fired up with them. So this is an A plus number one for me. What did you think of the Super Buick?
But who pulls the strings that you are attached to? Who pours the gas that you are the match
I'm
to?
telling you, man, the lyrics are so incredible. Just incredible.
Yeah, I never appreciated them that much when I was younger. I was
Oh.
when this came out, I was a teenager. So like, now, Heard would look at things much differently. It could be anybody. It could look like anything at all, anyone at all. You could never tell. Regular people. they look like human beings.
It's
Dude,
incredible.
yeah, I love this album, man. This was really fun to go back to this one. Just this is one of those albums that not only is it really good, but it really does take you back to a time like
It so does, man. I can't
just
stop smiling just thinking about it. Like it's just the memories just go
yeah.
flipping through. Like there's so many of them.
Yeah,
Oh
and
my
a lot of
goodness.
these albums are, what you would say just good memory albums, right? They just recaptured high school. For me, it was high school. I
Yeah.
know you were a little bit older, but for me, again, it was a lot of fun. It felt like I was a part of something going to these shows.
Yeah.
And this is when I got on board with them with this. I wasn't really around for the first album. Um, and it was towards the back end of Super Buick where the next album hadn't come out yet, but they were playing some songs off of it. So,
Yes.
um, but yeah, it was a lot of fun, and you pretty much nailed it. Like the first 4 songs on this are incredible. I always like the wrist into Canker Sore. I think that's cool the way that they have the guitars and the keyboards like echoing off each other. I thought it was
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah.
And my
Schmatz again, man. I'm telling you, he's so important to this
yeah,
band.
oh, absolutely, he
So
is.
important.
But I tell you what, like, what makes this band for me, and I think what obviously makes it suffer later, is how awesome that J-Man and Hatrix bounce off each other. I think they work perfectly, and I think later on when we start adding different people and different pieces, it can be hit or miss. These two are just they're like perfect for each other. They're like, they were like meant to be a 2-singer band, and I hadn't heard anything like that before at that time where there was 2 different singers. To me that was like a foreign concept, and it was really really cool, especially J-Man doing the rapping with Womp. I mean, that was like the cool thing, is if you could do the J-Man rap, during Womp. The twist the 4-5 cap and get slapped back from the red
Yep. The
wheels to feel
whole
all
thing.
right. Yeah, the whole thing. It's just really cool. So
Yeah.
it's a really really good album all the way through.
I can't do it justice. So I won't do it, but I could do it right now.
I'm sure you can.
Oh my
I'm sure you
goodness.
can.
Yeah, I would sit down and like listen to it like so many times until I could learn every word that he was saying, you
Yep.
know.
Yep.
Oh man. Anyway.
And what I like about this album is they didn't put a lot of extra stuff in it. I mean, that kind of goes along with what I said for the first one, where
Yeah.
it's
They
kind of
stripped it down.
yeah, they
You know,
did.
to the elements that they really wanted in it, you
Yep.
know.
And to me, that's why this album, it's just what I was glued to. So
Yeah.
I'm with you, partner. This is an A and a number 1 for me. I love Super Buick. I'm never not gonna love it. I don't hate a moment. Like there's nothing I would skip. The instrumental into the Blomp reprise at the end is a little bit like, okay, it's fine and it's cool, but like it's 9 solid awesome songs in a row. And to me that's really hard to do, especially for a local band. Like this band was straight up a local band right now, and it's just really impressive that they came up with
Yeah.
this. So
Yeah.
easy number 1 for me. It wasn't even really close, and it's an A for me.
Yeah.
Brian had it his number 2 and
Yeah.
a B.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like I'm trying to think of another band that like a local band that came out with something this good while they were still local, like between Michael Stanley
Yeah.
and Mushroomhead. You know, like I guess Boku was pretty good. You know, like in the mid '80s or so. But like I'm trying to think of other local acts that while they were still local and not national acts put out
Right.
something this good. Like
Yeah,
it's
like
just
Chimera really didn't come out with their bangers until Roadrunner
right,
was involved.
right, right. It's just man, it's to do all this themselves, self financed, self recorded, self everything. You know, like they didn't have any studio money. You know, like you mentioned these guys. A lot of them grew up in the Parma, North Royalton, like Cleveland suburbs area. Like they didn't grow up with a ton of money. You
Right.
know, like they had to make money and invest and reinvest money and like pay for studio time and sell merch and do the constant hustle, you know. And they did it better than anybody. And like I said, they were artists too. Like they were creating visual things that people wanted to buy too, you know. Like it was, you couldn't go anywhere in the city without seeing Mushroomhead stuff, you know. It was people couldn't wait to get their hands on it. Like it's really, really, really impressive. It really is. Um, on to um, March 9th, 1999. Now we're almost 3 years later with M3, but as you mentioned, there's 11 tracks on here, 10 songs. We'll get to the 11th track at the end here.
Yeah.
Greatness. Talk about evil and darkness, Joe.
Love it.
Oh my goodness, so good. But anyway, they did come out with a remix album in between here in 1997, and they were constantly touring, and people obviously had this craving for new Mushroomhead stuff. I remember asking Jeff too, like these guys would work their own, obviously they would work the merch table when they weren't playing or whatever. They'd just stand around there and just talk with people and sell stuff. And I remember seeing Jeff there, and I'd always ask him, like, when's a new album come out? And he would always say, increasingly I'm unaware. Like, which is a line from a song on the first album, Like, he even talked in, like, kind of riddles and like, lyrics, it's funny. But it always made me laugh. So, but it took a while for this to come out, but they played a lot of these songs live while they were writing them. So, there are a lot of songs on here, and I'm going to mention Solitaire Unraveling as one for sure, because that song, when they first played it, my brother and I were at the show, as we were many, many times, and they said, how about a new song? And we're writing this song, we call it Twinkle. This song was actually called Twinkle. My brother still calls it Twinkle. They wrote this song called Twinkle that ended up becoming Solitaire Unraveling, and they had been playing that from, like, I don't know, 1996 and a half on all the way up to 1999. They played that all the time, and people loved it, but you couldn't get it. You couldn't buy a copy of it forever, it seemed like. But they came out with a remix album, which is just a kind of a remix of, multiple, songs from the two albums. And, like, they're kind of techno versions, like definitely remixed stuff. Techno was kind of taken off, and these guys did a lot of that stuff too. They were just artists. Like I said, they were kind of in everything. But their other stuff kind of came out in between here. Like they came out with 10,000 Cadillacs in between these two albums too, which is something I wanted to mention. That is Jason Popson, J-Man, and Skinny, Steve Felton, wrote all these rap tracks. And they're amazing.
Awesome.
Like, amazingly awesome stuff. There's an album and a half of those. The first one's called Reap the Whirlwind, I think, and it's the full one. And maybe that's the EP. I can't remember. Anyway, but there's an album and a half of that out there, and it is so good. You have to go to YouTube and listen to it, I think, because you can't find it on Spotify. But oh my God, it's incredible. And people are starting to do this type. It's kind of like my buddy Tyler, who shows up here once in a while. He talked about it being like a goth rap or something like that. It's like a doom kind of rap, but it's like this dark, really low, kind of slow like rap. But it's so good, and people are doing that now. Like, that's starting to get traction, get popular now. And these guys were doing this like almost 30 years ago. But it's so good. You gotta listen. You have to listen to that if you can find it. But anyway, all this stuff came out in between here, and then they finally got around to recording M3. Came out March 9th, 1999 with 11 tracks. Like I said, 10 songs. This was produced by the band again. It's the final album with J.J. Sakula, who was J.J. Righteous, and Richie Moore, who went by Dinner, was his name. And the first album with Bronson on samples. So Marko Vukovic, who used to, run the spotlights on stage and deal with the confetti and do all kinds of crazy stuff running around in his boxers up there. And a big mask on. I think he was the one with the ball in his mouth, I think, right?
Yep.
I'm like, what are you doing? So anyway, but now he's on samples because Joe Lenke left. So this is much heavier than anything they put out up till this point. And as much as I still love this album, like all of these first four albums, some of this material is starting to sound kind of left over to me, if that makes sense. Like, it's not as great as what was on Super Buick, but it's similar, in ways where it seems like it's, I'm sure Solitaire Unraveling, they wrote in between. I'm sure some, but I'm wondering if some of this stuff that they wrote was kind of like leftover stuff from Super Music they kind of reworked, because that's kind of what it starts to feel like to me. But I've listened to this album a million times. It's still really good, but it's not as great as the first two for me. But my favorites are Before I Die. It just starts off with just a banger, heavy song
That bass
right
is
off the
so
rip.
good.
Yeah, it's so good. And again, this album sounds great once again. And then Twinkle, I love, and Born of Desire is outstanding. You know, they play some Pink Floyd, you know, in there before leading into Born of Desire, and that's the only way they play it now. Like, I'm surprised it's not on the album like that, because that's, you can't hear Born of Desire without hearing Pink Floyd. You
Oh,
know,
with Empty Spaces.
yeah,
Yeah.
Empty Spaces. My
So
bad.
good.
Yeah, I should have mentioned that. But anyway, yeah, with Empty Spaces going into Born of Desire, like that's the only way they do it, and they've always done it. So it's kind of weird that that's not on here. Maybe they didn't get the rights to it, but it also. Oh no, I'll cover that later. Never mind. So anyway, I don't have any skippers on this one though. There's nothing I would skip. There is a song on here with Scott Edgell that basically does all of the kind of the final act, except you know, I think Jason has some rap lyrics there at the end, but I think Scott Edgell sings most of that.
Yep.
And he's also sings on the new Cult King. Now I don't know who that guy is, but I was kind of wondering if he was going to end up in the band at some point. But I think I saw him on stage do a couple of those too with my brother a couple of times here and there. But this one, I had a rough time with kind of 3 and 4 and 5 and 6. This one I have at 5, but I do still really. There's some great songs on here that I love seeing live, but they don't play a lot of these anymore. Actually, they don't play a lot of this early stuff anymore.
They
But
don't,
but they
unfortunately.
they kind of stopped playing some of this stuff even while this album was out, and it kind of filling the set list with more stuff from Super Buick and before. I just don't feel like this material is overall as good as the first 2 albums. But anyway, it's still really good. I have this as a B plus and a number 5. Like I can't give them all A pluses, right? I
Right.
have to distinguish. And this one, this was like the first one was for you. Like originally I had this at number 3, right? And then I started listening and I'm like, nope, this one's better, and I moved it down 1. And then I'm like, nope, this one's better, and I moved it down another 1. So now we end up at 5. So
Yeah.
it's one that I thought would be top 3 for me because it's in the first 3 albums, and this was like when they were definitely doing what they were doing. You know, this was the band that they hadn't really changed. They had just kind of kept doing the same thing. But I just feel like these songs aren't quite as good for me. But anyway, B plus number 5. What did you think of M3?
Brian loved M3. It's his number 1. He
Awesome.
loves it.
You like the
Awesome.
heaviness of it? I bet.
Yeah.
Because it's heavy. It's definitely heavier.
Yep. It's good. I like it for sure. It's really, really good. To me, it's a little top heavy, a little top and bottom heavy, a little bit in the middle. It meanders a little bit for me. Just maybe not as catchy, I guess. Definitely Before I Die and Solitaire Unraveling is insane good. Like 2 of my favorite songs, definitely by the band. New Cult King is cool. Inevitable is cool. I think Xerox is final act. It's when it starts dragging a little bit for me. Not skipping. I don't think I'd skip any of these songs. But they do close it with Born of Desire, which is so good. Just the cool. Again, I'll go back to it's the keyboard stuff. You know, the da dun da da dun. Like that was like, so cool.
Yeah.
And again, that's a live thing where you kind of just have to be there for the hey.
Yeah,
Everyone goes
right.
nuts for it.
Right.
Definitely a cool album. I think with me, I lean on the stronger tracks, and that's just what stands out to me. All good though. Again, no skippers. All pretty good. I do like the heaviness of it for sure. When it came out, I loved it. I was like, man, this stuff is great. And this is when I was going to see them all the time too.
Yeah.
When this came out, I was finally old enough to where me and my friends would go see it, and we loved it. We
You didn't have to find somebody to drive you.
Yeah, right.
Drive yourself.
Could drive yourself, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely good stuff. This is my number 3, and it's a B plus. Again, I think the strong stuff is just so strong, and I do think it sounds really, really good. I think the production is equal to, if not maybe a little better than Super Buick, in my opinion. It's good. It's for again still a band that's local. It just still is phenomenal what they were putting out. So Yeah, definitely nowhere in the vicinity of Super Buick to me or my number 2, but it is number 3 for me. B plus.
All right. On to, and you want to talk about Dark and Evil Joe
Oh
real
yeah,
quick?
well,
I mean, it
yeah,
actually ends with this really long track, but it's even
yeah.
that part of it's way at the end. But
It's hilarious. We were going to, when we were coming up with the idea of this podcast, we were going to put that in our intro because
yes,
we love it.
we both love it.
It's a phone call between this dorky guy trying to recruit for his black metal band.
Joe, it was Joe.
Yep, and then he got a call from this guy, and just it seems like a black guy from the hood or
Yeah,
something, and
yeah,
he's talking about how evil he is. He's like, "Oh, you're looking
yeah.
for somebody to do the leads for your metal band." He's like,
He's
"Well,
like
you're
your black metal band. He kept trying to get Joe to say basically he was a racist because
right,
he's like, well, my friends wouldn't like you, and
right.
he's like, I live in the suburbs,
I
and
live in
like,
East Cleveland."
and J Man's like, I'm from East Cleveland. He goes, why don't you like me in your metal band? He goes, go ahead and say it. Go ahead and say it. And Joe's like, no, my friends just wouldn't approve.
Right.
That's so funny.
Anyway,
Man.
yeah, listen to it.
It's
It's
a jerky
hilarious.
boys type of thing if you know who
Yeah.
they are.
See,
It's
what and the one thing I always liked
it's
about
so
their
funny.
live show is they took a lot of these things and clipped them. Like,
Yes.
so before they came out on stage, they did like this DJ presentation where they clipped movie things like
Uh-huh.
theme songs.
Uh-huh.
They would play the
The theme
Beretta
from the
theme song, and
Jeffersons.
yeah, all that stuff.
Every show that they came out to the Muppet Show, the
That was
Muppet
the
Show
last
theme,
song.
and that's
Yep.
what they would come out to. Like that's when the lights went off when they were playing the Muppet Show, and everybody would sing along. It was fantastic,
Like
so perfect.
that's my best memory of
Yeah,
Mushroomhead shows is hearing the Muppet song and then coming out to Before I Die. The like it all like
yeah,
flowed so
yeah,
perfectly to me.
yeah.
So
And they used to
awesome.
cover the front of the stage before they had a curtain at the
Yeah.
Agora. Like at Peabody's, they would cover the stage with brown paper,
Yeah.
like shopping bag brown paper. They would tape it all up all the way across, and they would rip it all down when they came out and rip it all up and throw it in the audience, and be pieces of it everywhere. Like you couldn't see them set up. You never knew what the stage was going to look like. Like it was, it was so perfect. Like I said, it was such a time that kind of thing never happened. You never saw that with anybody else ever until you saw these guys. Like there's so many things they did where you're like, I've never seen that, and I've in some cases I've never seen it again.
Right.
It's phenomenal. Their live shows were amazing.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I almost feel like you had to be there. It was one of those you
Yeah.
had to be there moments, or I don't think you could possibly fully appreciate like the feeling. Again,
I wish
and
they had some live DVDs of them performing some of these shows, and I know they filmed a lot of them. I'm on them, I was
Yeah.
in the front, and I got the guy with the cameras right in my face. I had a mask on. People used to, for the Halloween show, would wear masks and makeup and all kinds of outfits. Like it was a giant Halloween party. It was just, and it's awesome, and it's still kind of like that, but not like it was back in the day. But like I know they filmed a ton of this stuff, and I don't know why they've just never really put it out. Like it's been 30 years. You'd think by now they would have had something good enough to put out, and they just never have. They have to be sitting on so much material. There's cameras all over the place once they were starting to get big,
Yeah, there are definitely a lot of YouTube clips.
There
I
are.
was going down the rabbit hole of that where
So easy to do.
from the 90s, yeah, just 95, there's a lot of like not like full shows, but
A song here, 2 songs
Yep.
there. Yep.
just, and again, they're so grainy and so horrible because
Yeah.
again, nobody
yeah.
had, it was like a camcorder then, right? It was,
Yeah.
but just seeing their outfits, like the weird top hats and the weird, and I will comment later because I think Jeff Nothing's mask later on is freaking awesome with the hands.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so
Yeah.
creepy. But,
It is. It's
but they
incredible.
do really, they've always done really cool job with stuff.
Oh
so.
my goodness.
And J-Man, when he, again, we'll talk about that later. When he leaves and comes back, he's got like a magneto like Marvel hat.
Yeah.
It's just like, what are you doing? But it looks
Right.
so cool.
Right. Yeah, that was the thing too. Is as you can see in the picture in the middle here, they developed like this X face logo that kind of became their logo. You find that everywhere. You see it behind me. It's kind of everywhere. It's on my shirt. So that would kind of became but they would change this look. The look that you're looking at there is from the album that we're going to talk about now, 13. This is the outfits they wore then on stage. They had jumpsuits. Before, early on, it was, they wore like the orange jumpsuits to like Slipknot, and there's always this big argument on who did it first. And I don't know, Mushroomhead started in 1993, so I don't know. They had 3 albums out by the time Slipknot came out with theirs. So, but who knows? That argument's always going to go on. But they changed their outfits. Like Jeff, who's wearing the all black jumpsuit here in this picture in the front, he used to wear like a wedding dress with red shoulder pads and a devil mask.
Yep.
Like, it's just like they would all have their own kind of look, and in this part they kind of standardized it, and then they kind of went away from that, and they all kind of went their own individual ways again, and then they got into mask creation, and you can buy some of their great masks that they make for $300-$400 a piece. Like, they're ridiculous. Like, and they make all the stuff themselves, so like I said, they're into all this stuff now. Anyway, album 13. So this came out. This is their major label debut. They came out with Double X in between 1999 and 2003, which was, like I said, remixed songs from, or re-recorded songs and remixed songs from Super Buick and the self-titled debut. And then wrote a new album that came out, an album called 13. So this is October 14th, 2003. 13 songs on this one. This was produced by the band, by Steve Felton, by Johnny K, and by Matt Wallace. Johnny K, Matt Wallace are 2 names that I know. Johnny K, obviously, with Disturbed fame, and just we keep bringing his name up a lot with a lot of these metal bands, so he's fantastic. Bronson is now on guitar. Marko Vukovic is now on guitar. He was doing the samples with great Dave Felton, who is Steve Felton's brother, on guitar. He's been in other local bands. He was in Purgatory for a little while, I think, with Jeff Hatrix. He was the guitarist in Jeff Hatrix's solo band, Hatrix. Dave Felton was, and he goes by Gravy in this band. And Rick Thomas, who goes by Stitch, is on samples now. So they brought in 2 new members and moved Bronson to guitar. At this point, Dave has later said, Dave Felton, who stays in the band for a little while here, that he ended up having to write simpler guitar riffs because Bronson isn't like a natural guitar player, right? So he hasn't been playing guitar his whole life. So, but for me, I feel like that's great because Dave Felton is one of the greatest Cleveland area guitar player, especially in metal. I don't know that anybody can touch him in metal locally for me. But he's been in all kinds of bands, and I love the way he plays. I love the sound, the tone of his guitar. He's a great guitar player. He can play absolutely anything. So, but for a guy that's really good at playing guitar and can write songs and writes great guitar parts, for him to kind of not dumb it down, but to write easier riffs for somebody else, it was kind of genius, because a lot of these riffs they're so good because they're so simple. And sometimes I feel like these guys that are great at guitar and like want to shred all the time, they do their best work, like Dimebag, for instance. I'm not going to say Dave is Dimebag, but when Dimebag took all this craziness he was doing before and then wrote simpler riffs, they were the best riffs you've ever heard and still reverberate through history today, right? Like, and Dave Felton is sort of like that. Like, when he had to write simpler riffs, that was when he was at his best. Then he could solo, and Bronson could just play whatever great simple riffs he wrote. It's awesome stuff. So that, to me, puts this album, bumps it way up. I just love Dave's playing. I love there's so many riffs on here that are so good. He works so well in this band, and it's not any slight on JJ Sekula or Dinner, Richie Moore, because those guys were great too, and they worked well together also. They had their own kind of thing. Like, JJ was kind of more like the metal guy, and like they're the hardcore like metal guy, and Dinner wrote like other kinds of riffs. So like that had a thing that worked too, but Dave I feel like kind of elevates this band to another level as far as like guitar playing goes. He's so good. Sun Doesn't Rise was a staple on Headbangers Ball. It was also in the Freddy versus Jason soundtrack. This is kind of when they started getting involved with obviously making their own masks and also production stuff. They really got involved with making videos, and it really came to fruition on the next album where they made a whole bunch of videos for the next album. But this is their best selling album to date. My favorites on this one, again, there are too many to mention, but I will mention a couple of deeper ones. Like I feel like Mother Machine Gun, Nowhere to Go, and Becoming Cold. Those three songs are, and Sun Doesn't Rise is right before that, and that is an unbelievably great song too. I've heard it so many times, and that's the super popular one on this album, right? So if I'm gonna go with some kind of more underground ones, those three in a row right after Mother Machine Gun, Nowhere to Go, and Becoming Cold are just unbelievably great songs that have great guitar work in them. Jason sounds great. The lyrics are awesome. Jeff sounds amazing. Everything sounds so good in here. Schmatz is doing his thing. Like they're just really firing on all cylinders. But that goes for so many other songs on this album too. Like Destroy the World Around Me is like a Pink Floydish, like it's a classic song almost. It's 8 minutes long. And Jeff used to start out like they had this huge rolling like ladder that had it was all covered up, and they would like wheel it out, and he would start off like I don't know 40 feet above the stage singing this song, and like they had like these hammers and like it was very Pink Floyd like, but it's like a great like metal version of Pink Floyd. Like and Jeff he just sounds so good singing it. Like there's so many things on here, and then like One More Day. Uh, they'd bring different people out on stage to sing the female part, but like it's a duet between Jeff and a female singer, and like the female singer just kind of repeats what Jeff's kind of singing when he's singing One More Day, but it's just it's so good. And then they would go into When Doves Cry, and like he would do a cover of When Doves Cry, but just all a cappella, just him. And it was like it just make the hair on your arm stand up. It was so incredibly good, and I don't know why they could never record it. There's all kinds of write ups about albums taking longer to come out like this one because they tried to get rights to put it on the album and they couldn't do it. But it's just man, the stuff they were doing at this time was just top level songwriting, and adding Dave on guitar like this almost it comes close, kind of close to Super Buick for me. Not like right there with it, but like if Super Buick's a rocket, it's kind of at the flame level at the bottom. It's right there because this song's just so good, and they never get tired to me. I never get sick of them. So anyway, Destroy the World Around Me. I mentioned One More Day, like Mother Machine Gun. I was just listening to all this stuff before I came on today. It's so good. I have this as no skippers at all on here, even with 13 songs. The hidden song "Crazy" is a Seal cover, and that's a great song. Like such a phenomenal cover of that song. Like you would have been like, "What? They're gonna do it? What?" But it's so good, so good. So I have this also as an A plus. So this band has two A pluses, which is kind of no surprise to me. But I don't give out a lot of these, so to have two from one band is a lot. I absolutely love this album. I love what Dave brings to the band. Again, he's probably my favorite metal Cleveland guitarist that I've ever heard here, and I've seen a lot of local bands, but he's just so good. It's kind of I want to say it's artistically not their best album, but probably the best whole collection of songs on any album for me. I mean, even though it's hard to say because all the ones on Super Buick are so good, but like you said, like it kind of slows down a little towards the end, and it's just this one. It's strong all the way through. They're just at the top of their game songwriting wise. So I have this A plus. I have this number 2. What did you think of 13?
Brian, not a fan of this. I'm actually really surprised by this. Brian loves Sun Doesn't Rise. For sure, that's a great song. He said it's his least favorite on this. Didn't care for this. I'm going to fall way closer to you, H, on this one. I love this album. I remember when it first came out, I really thought this band was going to blow up. They had just gotten signed. They had a huge song. They were getting a lot of airplay with "Sun Doesn't Rise." Um, yeah, I just really really liked this album. I "Kill Tomorrow" I think is one of their most underrated songs, and
So good.
it's a great opener.
It is.
Again, just awesome, more lyrics, and
Oh,
I love the if you feel sometimes we're falling away, I wouldn't blame you. While you flow through my veins, we will pay the price we pay. Kill tomorrow, yesterday.
yesterday.
Yep.
It's so
Yeah,
good,
it's
man. I
good.
mean, if you actually have to sit down and think about what he's saying and then put it together, and then it makes sense, and you're like,
Yeah.
how in the world does this stuff flow out of this man? Like, it's so good,
Yeah.
so good. I
But
can't talk about it enough. I'm
but
glad
I'm
you're,
with
you're
you.
throwing them in there.
All the way through this is good. I love all these songs. Mother Machine Gun, like you mentioned, big fan of that. The War Inside is so good. I love Eternal, On Our Own Way. 13 it's kind of weird, but then it's like a setup for Crazy, which
Yeah,
is like if you were to describe Crazy to me, I would tell you you're insane and it wouldn't sound good, but
yeah,
it just
it
works.
works.
Just again, if you heard the Seal version a million times on Q104 or whatever, just imagine.
Imagine J-Man just screaming "crazy"
Right.
in
Well,
the
yeah.
background over and
Lost
over
and
again. Like,
crazy,
it's so
lost and
good,
crazy. It's crazy.
right? Oh,
Totally crazy that it works.
crazy.
But
So
yeah, these guys do really, really great cover work. It's really, really good. So yeah, I mean, I'm with you here. I think this band was at the top of their game. Unfortunately, this was kind of the high point,
yep.
and everything kind of went downhill from here because they started losing members like crazy, and it was they never really got the cohesiveness again that they
Agreed.
had here.
Yep.
But I'm with you. This is my number 2 album. It's an A minus. I really, really, really strong. If I have any complaints at all, it's just that lull in between "Destroy the World Around Me" into Crazy with that. It's like a weird dead guitar ish, keyboard ish sound. It's I wish they went right from "Destroy the World" into Crazy. I think that would have been better for me
Yeah.
personally. That would have cut,
Yeah.
4
There's
minutes
really no
off of it.
reason for this album to be 58 minutes long.
Right, right,
They
right.
really could have maybe shortened that up.
Yeah,
But what they were doing was so good at this time. You know, I guess they're definitely certainly allowed the freedom
sure. No,
to throw stuff in there. Like it
yeah,
does. It may not necessarily work exactly how we'd love it, but
yeah,
it's just, man, if they just like you said, like, would you have this as an A?
yeah. I had an A minus. Yeah,
A minus, okay. Like if they chop that out as an A plus,
probably an
or you know
A,
what I
A
mean?
to an A
Like it's
plus. Yeah.
it's it's right there.
Yep.
So, but yeah, it's an A plus for me anyway. But yeah, I hear you. Like,
Excellent. Yeah.
all right, so on to a couple years, 3 years later, September 19th, 2006. They like to come out with albums in September and October because they're a band that wears masks, so it's
Right.
Halloween. And they have the Halloween show to do, so it makes a lot of sense. So Save Your Sorrow comes out September 19th, 2006. 12 songs on here. This was produced by the band, by Steve Felton and Bill Korecki again. Waylon Revis is now one of the singers from the band Three Quarters Dead. He grew up in North Carolina area, and he was in this band Three Quarters Dead from the Carolina area. He is in for J-Man at Jason Popson at J-Man's suggestion. J-Man said, "Hey, get this guy to replace me." He's like, "I got to leave. I got to go take care of my dad. He needed a break from touring. He had to take care of his ailing father too, which, I commend him to that. So for that, much love to Jason Popson for that. And he just knew he had to step away, and he found this guy, and he's like, I think this guy will fit right in. And he ends up staying with the band for a while, and he kind of did fit right in. He adds kind of a whole new dimension to this band too. He could do kind of what J-Man did, but also could really sing clean well. Also, like kind of like Jeff does, but not doesn't sound like Jeff, obviously. But he could sing clean really well also. So that was a really good find, I think, to replace J-Man. It's about the best they could do if they were going to have to break up what they were doing at the time, which sounds like, that's what they were going to have to do. Bronson now left. Also, Bronson went off to go to pursue film school. Sorry, because obviously, like I said, these people were all artists and they were all involved with a lot of film and graphic work and all that stuff. So Bronson went off to film school. So this became a one guitar only band. But Dave said it was good for him. Like I said before, he felt like he could write much more complicated riffs now that Bronson doesn't have to play them. Also, but at the same time, I feel like he wrote such great stuff for the both of them on the last album that it's going to be hard to top that. So, but there's some incredible songs on this album also, although it's not as good as a few of the other albums. I remember I found a kind of sort of unfinished, version of this album like in May that I downloaded somewhere off of like LimeWire, and I listened to it. It didn't come out till September, but it was supposed to come out in June. So there was this mostly finished version kind of floating around out there to download. I don't know who got it out there, but I ended up downloading it. And I knew this whole album before it even came out in September. Like I knew every song already, so I kind of knew what to expect, I guess. So it was just weird that's one of the few times that's ever really happened to me. Like you used to be able to find an album like a week ahead of time or 2 weeks ahead of time or even a month. This was like 4 months ahead of time. So that was odd. And it just happened to be Mushroomhead of all things. So, but my favorites on here are 1200. I love that song. They still play that all the time. I love Tattoo. Erase the Doubt is a great song. Burn is another great song. There's no skippers on here. This is kind of the A- number 4 for me. This was tough between this one and M3 on which one was going to be 4 and which one was going to be 5 for me. There's some slower spots here for sure, but they're still mostly great songs. I think they take big advantage of Waylon's vocal chops here, which makes them sound a little different for sure. And I know there's people that didn't like this album because it didn't sound as much like Mushroomhead, and that's kind of a result of the different people having only one guitar player. It sounded different live. Also, having Waylon instead of J-Man is a difference. Like I said, J-Man can pull that stuff off, but he's not J-Man. He just doesn't have the same sound to his voice. So, but they do take big advantage of what he can do in this album, which I give him credit for. So they pulled out of him what they could get more out of him, and they took that out. And like he sounds really great in a lot of parts of this album. So it's no disrespect to Waylon, who's in a band called A Killer's Confession now, and they still play locally. I think he still lives in the area as well, but he really doesn't have anything to do with Mushroomhead other than some of the members that aren't in the band anymore, which I'll kind of cover later. But anyway, some slower spots, like I said, but they do a good job of creating stuff with Waylon. So it's kind of so hard to rank these in kind of the middle of their catalog. But I have this as an A-. I have this at number 4. What did you think of Save Your Sorrow?
So this one was a little bit rough for me. I think the songs are good. And that's where I give this one the benefit of the doubt. I think the writing is good. The songs are good. I don't like the sound of this. I don't know if it's the production of this album. It sounds real hollow and tinny. It doesn't sound great to me. And I don't want to come across as I'm shitting on Waylon because I'm really not. But I don't like his sound on this record. I think they hadn't found where he's best used yet. And I agree with you. I don't think he sounds bad, but I think it doesn't sound a lot like Mushroomhead. It's a rough album for him because I think he's trying to find his way, just from my point of view. With the way that the production sounds on this, it was a little rough for me. But I I do like quite a few songs on here. So to me, this is pretty well ahead of like the bottom third of their catalog for me, for sure. There's good stuff here. Obviously, they're writing good. I wish the sound was better, and I wish Revis was a little like. I wish Revis now could redo this album then, because I think it would have been. If you get what I'm saying, like if Revis now, after all the years,
he does shine in parts though. Like Embrace the Ending at
Yeah,
the
Bryce
end.
the
Like,
ending's
he
good. Yeah.
sounds amazing in there with Jeff. Like, Jeff's singing and he's singing. They're both
Yeah.
singing.
Yeah.
And they sound incredible together. I don't think they do that enough
Right.
on
I
this
agree.
album, but they did try to bring. There's another song, maybe Save Us, I think too, where it's kind of him singing and he sounds really good. They just maybe don't incorporate that enough. But again, like you said though, it just doesn't sound like Mushroomhead. So
Right.
it's like you kind of embrace his sound, or you're just like, I don't like it because it doesn't sound like Mushroomhead. You know, it sounds like you're in between there. You're
Yeah.
not one or the other, but
Yeah.
a lot of people were kind of one or the other. You know,
Yeah. No, I'm
which I
definitely
totally get.
and later on, trust me, there's a Waylon record here I really like coming up. So
Okay,
I think they figure it out and it's great. But this one, I think he's still kind of finding it. And I love his new stuff, by the way. You know,
Killer's
me and
Confession.
yeah, me and Hendrickson talk about that quite a bit. We really like this new stuff he's putting out.
Yes.
J-Man's involved in a lot of it too.
Yeah, especially this album. Like, I
Yep.
feel like they're kind of struggling to find their own sound too, but I think
Yeah.
now they're kind of there.
Yep.
Now
Yep.
that they found it, I think.
Yeah,
And
I seen them
J-Man's
too.
involved and he totally fits. Totally
Yeah.
fits. And Stitch is involved too now. And
Yep.
Little Dan is a drummer. So, like, there's a bunch of ex-Mushroomhead guys in the band too.
Yeah,
now,
it just
so.
works. I saw them like 2-3 years ago at Incarceration, and to me, I was like, okay, not really quite there yet. But I agree with when you say that now they have found it, and everything sounds really, really good. So I like Waylon for sure. I don't like him on this album all the time. Anyway, this is my number 6 album. It's still really, really good, and it's still a step ahead of what I think are the worst 3 albums of theirs. So between 7 and 6, I think is a big jump. But this is number 6 for me. You know, I like 1200 is awesome. I love Simple Survival. I think these songs are really well written songs. Save Us, you mentioned, I think is really, really good. I like Burn. I like Cut Me, The Falling, and you said Embrace the Ending. I think
Cut Me and I Bleed. We all do. Like,
Yep.
it's just so good.
It
man.
is. Yeah.
Oh my god. So
The
good.
songs I think are there.
Oh.
This is the one album that I wish they would re-record and make it like really sound good, because I think this has the guts.
This album would be better if J-Man was on it with the other two, or in place of Waylon.
Well, with my
or do you feel like they wrote them kind of for Waylon?
No, number one, make the production better. I think that's the key to making this.
Right. No, I agree with you on that. It does sound to me like the bass, like, you know, Pig and Skinny. It just doesn't really come through.
It doesn't
the low
sound
end.
right.
It doesn't come through. Yeah, it really doesn't.
Like, I had to check. I thought my headphones were messed up because I had just listened to 13, and then on to this, and I'm like, wait a minute, it just doesn't sound right.
No, it really doesn't. It doesn't sound terrible, but it doesn't sound right.
But after, and again, we're going to get into the album where the 3 of them are on later.
Yep.
To me, that tells the story. That's
okay.
If those 3 were together here, I think it would be improved much.
Okay.
But for me, I think it's.
I wonder what that would sound like too. You know, I can't really wrap my head around what that would sound like on this album. Like, where would they fit Jason in there? But I wonder too, like where this would be if it was like that one. But anyway.
Yeah. But this is a B- for me. It's still good. You know, I still really like the material, but it's number 6 for me.
Okay. On to Beautiful Stories for Ugly Children. This is September 28th, 2010. 12 songs on here. This is produced by Steve Felton, Skinny. This was the last album for Pig Venus on bass, and Dave left after this album too for kind of being not in the same party spirit as the band. He didn't like to party as much as some of these other people in the band did, so they guess they kind of booted him for that. And he was kind of bitter about that for a while, but he's back in the band now, so don't worry. But anyhow, this is the only band with Little Dan Fox on drums, on percussion. I shouldn't say he didn't play drums. Skinny played drums, I think, on all these tracks, but Little Dan was involved with percussion on this album. And it's the only album. So now he's the actual drummer for Killer's Confession. The album title itself was inspired by DC comic series of the same name from 1989 to 1982, Beautiful Stories for Ugly Children. This was the video for Come On premiered at Headbangers Ball, which was hosted by the band themselves. I remember watching that. I thought that was pretty cool. I was like, wait, Mushroomhead's hosting Headbangers Ball, and they got to premiere their own video. So, but at this point, and especially like I said on the last album and this one, I didn't even mention on Save Your Sorrow. I forgot to. I'm sorry that they got into making masks and costumes and production of videos a lot during the time of Save Your Sorrow. They worked with John Carpet, who directed some of Tim Burton's films, and also Robert Kurtzman, who I believe of Walking Dead fame.
Correct.
And he was filming a movie called Rage at the time, and he did the video for Damage Done on that album. So they were kind of really getting into this whole, and then they were self-producing videos kind of going forward in their some of it in their rehearsal space. They were filming these videos. Like, they really got good at this stuff. So I was really pumped to see the video for that, and I was kind of impressed with it when it came on, because I knew they had kind of done all this themselves. So my favorites on this album are Come On, Inspiration. Come On is the first track. Inspiration, Burn the Bridge. It's very like 216, who we haven't really talked about yet, which we'll talk about maybe in a little bit. The band 216. This is kind of a 216 sounding guitar, especially on guitar, for this song. Harvest the Garden is a great song, and Darker Days I like a lot, which is the second to last track. The guitar sounds amazing on that one too. But like I said, this was still Dave, and he's going to leave, and that's going to leave a big hole for me. Skippers are Holes in the Void. I do have some skippers here from the first time since Mommy on the first album. Holes in the Void, The Feel, and Do I Know You. I didn't really care for any of those three songs. This is kind of where I get into the bottom third of their catalog. This I have as a B minus. I have it at number 7. It's just not all that great for me. There's a few really good songs. The rest is pretty mediocre. This is the first time I listened to a Mushroomhead album, and I was like, man, I don't know if I like all of this. Like, even Save Your Sorrow, like, I was still on board with it, because
Yeah.
the songs are still really good, but they're
Yep.
not so good here.
Right.
Like, Gravy's still shredding here, and it sounds great, but the songs in total just aren't as good. So I have this as a B minus, number 7. What did you think of Beautiful Stories for Ugly Children?
Yeah, not great for me. Just didn't really get into this one. I didn't get into it when it came out. I didn't get into it now. I agree with you. The songs just, I think this is the first time they really come through where the songs just aren't very strong. It doesn't work for me. I think it's really strong. The songs I like are the first few. I like Come On a lot. I like Inspiration a lot. Slaughterhouse Road I even thought was okay. After that though, it was kind of downhill for me.
Really top heavy.
Yeah, really top heavy
Right.
for sure. It was especially the back half, the last 4 or 5 songs, to me, like, not memorable. Just, they have so many memorable songs, and none of these are it. This is this is number 8 for me. So I really only like one less, and we'll kind of get into that later. That has room, I think, still to grow a little bit. But this one, I feel like, is kind of destined to be at the bottom of the pile for me. To me, this is the Into the C range. So like a C album. And I have it at number 8. Just not really a whole lot to say. I was kind of thinking this was it for them. I think we all kind of go through that, where a band is just solid for so long, and then we're like, is this kind of it for them? Did we get everything we could?
I felt the same way, man. Yep.
Yeah. So this was kind of disappointing.
At the time in 2010, whatever, when that came out. Yep, I felt the same way.
Very
I was like,
disappointing.
that might be it.
Yep.
It might not be any more Mushroomhead after this.
Yep.
All right, so on to The Righteous and the Butterfly, May 13th, 2014. One of the ones that's, I guess, not in September or October. This is Skinny, again, producing with Bill Korecki. The songwriting is much better on this one, but I do really miss Dave's guitar work. This is the only album with Tommy Church on guitar. It's not terrible. It's just, I really miss Dave's guitar work on this one. This is the only album, as we mentioned before, with all 3 of the earlier vocalists. Like, we'll have another one, I think, with 3 singers, but this one is the first time they've done the 3 vocalists, with J-Man coming back. This is the last album for Jeff, and for Waylon, and for Schmatz, which is a huge loss in my opinion. Dr. Fair or Dr. F. Ryan Farrell, who you know,
Yep.
is in on bass, and Robbie Godsey comes in on percussion. Sorry, so Little Dan's out, Pig Venus is out. We got Ryan Farrell in. Schmitz is out. you know, well, after this album, and then
Right.
Jeff and Waylon are after this album are gone too. So there's just many changes coming up. The album title is a tribute to J.J. Sekula, who is J.J. Righteous, who is the part of the Righteous and Butterfly. He passed away in 2010. And Skinny's former wife, Vanessa Soloio, who I remember from earlier shows because she was always taking pictures of the band. And I remember helping her up onto at Peabody's, with the original Peabody's, you'd come down a ramp. And when you come around the ramp down to the stage was lower, and then the floor was a little bit lower still than the street level. So you'd come down this little ramp and come around the corner. Then there was like a bar table between these two poles. And I remember that's where she always stood to take pictures of the band. So there's all kinds of live shots of the band that I've seen that were taken from that spot. But it seems like that's where I always stood because it was like on the edge of the pit, but I could still see. And it was in front of the whole stack of speakers on that side. So it always sounded really good. And it was super loud. And I remember I'd always stand over there, and I remember helping her up onto this table like, I don't know, a half a dozen times, over all the times I've been to the shows. And I found out later that was Vanessa, that was the one who was with Skinny and married Skinny. So that was his former wife. She passed away in 2013. She's the butterfly part of the Righteous Butterfly. As if three vocalists weren't enough, we have We Are the Truth on this album, which is the 8th song featuring Jackie LaPanza on vocals of Unsaid Fate, who is in the band now. So, yeah, we'll get to her more later too. A cool and another different cover of a song you would never imagine them covering, and that's "Rumor Has It" by Adele. Like, you're like, what? And they're doing what? It's really good. It's really good.
It is.
So it's kind of funny. My favorites on this one are Our Apologies, which is the first song. QWERTY, you were listening to QWERTY when I came in here today. That's a fantastic
Love
song.
that song.
It's probably the last, I don't know if I want to say that, probably the last great Mushroomhead song for me.
Great.
It's probably
Agreed.
the last one. I think
it's not
the
even
last
close.
one.
Yeah, it's not even
I mean,
close.
there's a couple really good ones, but that's the last great one for me. And J-Man's just tearing through that one.
Kills
his
it.
vocal, it's so good. And it's another one of those like Blomp where you wanna sit down and learn what he says because he's so good. You just want to yell along with him. But anyway, so that's a great song. Portraits of the Poor, I like a lot. For Your Pleasure is a great feature of all three vocalists, I think, on this album. And Out of My Mind, I like a lot too. There are no skippers on this one for me. This one I have as a B plus, so I have it kind of way up there, but I also have it at number 6. This is where I struggle between M3 and this album. Like I could kind of go either way on these two albums. I almost bumped M3 all the way from 3 down to 6 and made this one number 5 because I like all those. Like 3, 4, 5, and 6 are all kind of in the middle of their catalog that are really still good, but they're just not at the level of like 1 and 2 for me. So it was really tough, but I put this one this time at number 6. If you ask me tomorrow, it'll probably be 5 or maybe even 4. I mean, but this was a really, really good album. I'll have them all ranked really close together. A minus, B plus, I think, for every one of these. Really good stuff, mostly. Although there's some stuff that starts to not sound like Mushroomhead on here. Yeah, they were kind of straying away a little bit with Waylon, I think, but there's really stuff on here now that I'm like, it really starts to not sound like Mushroomhead, but only like a few songs. Not skipper worthy, but just losing kind of a bit of their previous identity. So I kind of docked it for that, but maybe I docked it too much. They're all so close. I have this at number 6, B plus. What did you think of The Righteous and the Butterfly?
This album's fantastic. I really, this one, and that's why I kind of put an emphasis. I put an emphasis on talking about the last album. Like, I think they're done. And this was just it was another moment where it put a smile on my face because, again, it's not perfect all the way through. I think it's too long. I think there's too many songs on it, too much material. I think you could cut 4 or 5 out of here and then it's a fantastic album. But I like it. I think there's a lot of strong moments on it. I love Our Apologies. I love Devils Be Damned, I think is a great song. QWERTY is phenomenal. It's when that came out, it was like this sounds like this could have come off of
Super
Super
Buick.
Buick.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep. I
you
thought the
know.
same thing. Like, this is a throwback, man. This is a great one.
Yep. And I love the closer. Like I love Graveyard du Jour. I love Out of My Mind. Out of My Mind is a fantastic song.
Yeah.
Rumor has it
it
is
really
really,
is.
really a cool way to end it. These guys they kill it. But I want to give definitely Waylon his flowers with this because I feel like the way that the three vocalists all have like I think Waylon could be himself more here because Jeff could do Jeff stuff and Jay could do Jay stuff. I feel like Waylon just fits perfectly in between that on this. And I think he sounds wonderful. Like I was like thinking to myself, like, man, I'm sorry because the last two albums, it didn't sound quite right. But now he found it. Like he found it and it sounds so good. I do agree with you on the guitars. I do miss the guitars from early on, but these songs are good. And
Yeah, they are.
this is my last good Mushroomhead album.
Yeah,
But
me too.
it surprised me though. It surprised me because I didn't necessarily see it coming. Like I knew I liked it when it came out, but I didn't know how much I liked it. And I actually agree with you. I was sitting here like, do I put M3 at 3 or do I put Righteous and the Butterfly at 3? And to me, I put M3 at 3. I put this one at 4. It could have gone either way, but this is a very strong album. And really, really, if you're an old school Mushroomhead fan out there and you've kind of given up on them, go back to this and give it a listen. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. I'm not saying to go any further than this, but like this album, I think it has a lot to offer the old school Mushroomhead. I feel like J-Man coming back is like what they needed.
I was just going to say the parallels from what you've been talking about are when J-Man's out,
Yeah,
they don't sound like themselves. Like that,
Yeah.
that kind of shows you how important he is, right?
For
Like,
sure,
so
yeah.
for you to have M3 and this one kind of fighting it out, well, that makes sense because
Yeah.
J-Man was there, J-Man
Yep.
was there, J-Man
Yep.
wasn't on the other two. So
Yep, you're right.
makes a big difference lyrically, makes a big difference sound wise. Like he's kind of with Jeff, he's kind of the sound of Mushroomhead, you know, like
Yeah.
nobody else sounds like either one of those guys in what they do.
Right.
And then like when one of them's missing, it's just not the same.
It's not. Nope.
So
I'm with you. So number 4, and I have it as a B+. I think it's fantastic.
All right, on to 2020. On to A Wonderful Life. This is 13 songs. This is Skinny producing again with Matt Wallace. There's a lot on this one. I don't think we're going to spend a whole lot of time on these, but there's a lot on this one where I'm like, what is this? Like,
Right.
This is the theme that keeps popping into my head while I'm listening to this album is what is this?
Right.
It seems overproduced, and that's saying a lot for a band like Mushroomhead that has tons of elements in their music, but I feel like this is overproduced. There's too much stuff in here.
Right.
Steve Rockhorst on vocals and Tom Schaffner on guitar. It's the only album for him. Ryan Farrell played guitars on this album, though. I think like Tom Schaffner is listed, but I as like one of the members, but I don't think he wrote any of the music that's on here. Like I'm not even sure he played on this album. I think Ryan Farrell played guitars on most of this album, if I'm not mistaken. So,
Right.
J-Man's last Mushroomhead album to date, also on this one. I give them credit for trying something different with the kind of Cleveland Chamber Choir stuff, but it doesn't always work here for me.
Right.
Like that's one of the things I felt like they added that they didn't really need to add. Like, but I'm trying to balance the I want my old Mushroomhead back versus them growing into something else. I'm kind of having that fight, like internally, where I'm like, well, I like what they're trying to do, but I just don't like the way it kind of came off. But I want to give them credit for trying it. It's just it's tough, but there's just not a lot of great stuff on here. Like Requiem for Tomorrow, Seen It All, and The Heresy are the 3 songs that I really love. But listen to the skippers. So I got Pulse, not Pulse. Like, what is Pulse? What is this? And this is the first time I wrote this. Like, well, I don't know what they're trying to do on that song. It doesn't sound like Mushroomhead. And then The Time Has Come is okay, but much of it kind of feels like it's recycled, like they were trying to do something they had done earlier, but doesn't sound nearly as good. There's elements of it where you're like, okay, this kind of sounds like something off of Super Buick, but it's not nearly as good, and it just sounds weird.
Right.
And then 11th Hour is one of those Jeff/Smots songs that's nowhere near as good with neither of them in it. Like they're trying to do it, but like neither of those guys are involved and it doesn't work.
Right.
So it's just like kind of a piano keyboard playing under Jeff's character singing, which is Rock Horse, but it just doesn't work because those two people aren't involved in it. It's just not nearly as good. And then I Am the One sometimes is a kind of a what is this moment, and then The Flood is another one where I'm like, what is this song, The Flood? Like this sounds nothing like Mushroomhead. Like I don't get it. So I have all these skippers in here. So this is a C minus for me. This is a pretty easy 9. Much of this album, and I almost hate to say this about a band that I love so much, but much of this album is just blah to me. Like, there's not much of this album that I really like. There's a couple of classic Mushroomhead sounding songs, and then a bunch of what is this? Many songs I wouldn't have guessed as Mushroomhead at all. Like, if you just played them for me, I'm like, I don't hear anybody in here. Oh, wait, was that J-Man? I'm not quite sure. Like the songs that he's not in much of, you're like, who is this band?
Right.
So I don't know. It's it kind of makes me understand too why I think everybody's like exiting this band at this time is like it's just easily their worst record and they kind of lost their identity and it's just nowhere close to much else on the catalog. So I have this as a C minus. I just didn't want to give them a D. I really didn't. But this is number 9. There's just not much of this that's really good for me. There's a few, but that's it. What did you think of A Wonderful Life?
Basically identically to what you said. It's a very top heavy, and even that
Same, yeah.
it's Requiem for Tomorrow is good. I like Seen It All. I like The Heresy. After that, it's really weird to me.
Same 3 songs I mentioned.
Yeah, it's just to me it's a different band now. I'm just not really into it now.
Yeah.
I saw them during this. I saw them at Incarceration, and I was just really sad. Like
that's funny you said that.
It's
oh man,
and again it's a festival, so again I know that they're only getting a half hour or whatever, and it's out in the middle. It's like 2:00 in the afternoon, and they're playing like it's not where they should be, and what I've loved seeing them, so many times over the years.
Yep.
Just made me sad. I was just like, well, this isn't Mushroomhead. I don't know what this is. And J-Man wasn't with him when I saw him. He was done. So,
yeah.
It was unrecognizable to me. I think when I saw him, Skinny, was the only one that was there, on stage with them. And of course Ryan, and again we talked about it before. I do want to give a shout out. Like Ryan Farrell is one of the coolest human beings that I've ever met, and I haven't talked to him in 30 years. So we were kids, but he was very creative then. We would me and Swaggy Dubs, Brian S. we would play shows with
Swaggy Dubs.
Yeah, we would play shows and. Like we were setting up and stuff. Like I remember Ryan just talking, and dude just loves music. So I couldn't be happier for him and his success. He deserves it. You've talked to a lot of these guys over the years, just in passing, and like this guy he was so friendly, and I went to school with him, so we were familiar with each other. I got to shout out. Anybody that's a Mushroomhead fan, like that dude is the coolest dude ever. So just A+ human being.
Dr. F.
Yep. Dr. F. His masks are super cool too.
Yeah.
He's got the long face. It's just really, really creepy. It's really cool. But yeah, this album, just to me, it's a new thing. It's not Mushroomhead. I almost wish they would name it something else at this point, but whatever.
Yeah,
I mean, it is what it is.
Trying to hang on.
They are. So number 9 for me. I'm with you. I have it like a C minus. It starts off strong, but J-Man can't even save this record for me personally.
No, he definitely can't. All right, on to the most recent album, Call the Devil, August 9th, 2024. 13 songs on this one. This is produced by Steve Felton. Thankfully, Dave Felton is back. The difference is enormous. It really is. Even though I'm not going to rank this out much higher than the last one.
Right.
but the difference is huge.
Yeah.
It really is. I mean, that last album, I'm telling you, is like bottom all by itself, and like not even the same zip code as some of this other stuff. So this is not great either, but it's way better than that. So um, I still, though, unfortunately, miss the old vocalists. I mean, they can try as they might to recreate the songs and do them live and stuff. And I'm going to see the Halloween show. And last year I had a ticket, I sold it. I think the year before I went, the year before that I had a ticket and I sold it. Like, it's not the same. It isn't the same. It's still a lot of fun. And I want to hear the old songs, but none of the people that are in this band now were in the band back when the songs that I really want to hear. None of them were around. So
Right.
it makes it hard. It really does. It makes it hard to go. But I bought a ticket because I got the Axis sale. I wait for those back to school sales and whatever other sales where they don't have fees or they have buy one get one free tickets or whatever. And I got this one for I think $30 with no fees. And I'm like, how can I say no to that? Like, the Agora is a great place to see a show. They take real good care of people like me and a lot of others. They do a really good job what they do. It always sounds great. Mushroomhead's going to have a great stage show. Skinny's still involved, but it's not going to sound the same. But I'm going to hear the songs, and I get to be around all the people, and a bunch of people will be having costumes. It's kind of like a next generation of kind of Mushroomhead Halloween, even though it's not nearly the same as it used to be. But it's just, it's still good, but just not what it used to be. Joe Jenkins Gall is in on guitar also. Scott Strike Beck is in on vocals for J-Man. And we're back to 3 vocalists, but without nearly as good a results as Righteous and Butterfly, unfortunately. Because Jackie LaPanza is now in this band as well. It's quite a bit heavier than Wonderful Life, which I much prefer. I did love Jeff's moody, dark ballad type songs he was so good at, but he isn't around anymore to do them, so that kind of sucks. It sounds more like Mushroomhead throughout, although a kind of updated version, I guess I could say. I mean, it sounds a little bit like them. I mean, it still won't ever be the same as it was, but. And here is where I had almost exactly the same thing written down as you just said. I wrote this. This is exactly what I wrote. It makes me a bit sad that this band I once loved so much is now not nearly the same as they were for about 20 years, from 1993-94 to 2014. This band is nowhere near close to what that band was. Like, yeah, they had guys going in and out. They sounded a little different here and there, but this band is nowhere close to what they were back then. And it makes me sad. It really does.
Yep.
It's like a piece of me is kind of gone away, So it's just a small piece, not that big a deal. But my favorites here are I like Fall in Line. I like the jazzy nature of some of the song Emptiness. The third song threw me for a bit at first, and I was like, boy, I really don't know if I like this. But I learned to like it after numerous listens, and Dave kind of picks it up a little later with some great riffs in there. It's just kind of got a jazzy kind of, verse part to it a couple times where I'm like, what is this? Like, it definitely doesn't sound like Mushroomhead, but it kind of works, and I kind of like it in a way too. I like Hideous a lot, which is towards the end of the album. And Doom Goose is kind of cool and feels like a little bit like old Mushroomhead. Like, it's mostly instrumental, but it just kind of in keyboardish, but it just kind of has the feel of an old Mushroomhead track, like on Super Buick or whatever. So I kind of like that one. But I wonder also if it's a shot at Jeffrey Nothing, who released some music under the Doom Candy name with ex-Mushroomhead guitarist Tommy Church between 2019 and 2023. Now, it doesn't sound like this song, but it's just weird that it's called Doom Goose and it has like a goose quack at the end, right?
Right.
And Jeff did this thing with Tommy Church, who was also in Mushroomhead, called Doom Candy. So, and it's copyrighted. Those 4 songs that are out there, and you can listen to them on Spotify, are copyrighted by Hate Church. So it's definitely those two guys, but it's just I don't know. I kind of wonder if it's a shot at him. I hope it's not.
Yeah.
I'd like to hear them kind of like I guess the 30th anniversary is kind of out of the question, right? Because that would be this year. But I
Right.
kind of hope at some point they can all put their differences behind them and kind of have one last Halloween show together, But
Mhm.
if they're sniping at each other, that might never happen,
Right.
And Jeff has actually had trouble with cancer recently, a couple of times now, and he's by far the oldest member of Mushroomhead. I think
60s,
he's
right?
mid 60s. I
Yep.
think I want to say mid to late 60s. Like he's getting there, So he's quite a bit older than me and most of the other members of Mushroomhead, like Skinny, Jason, Dave Felton. They're all around, early to mid 50s, kind of like I am. So, and Dr. F is even younger, kind of, your age. So,
Yeah.
there's people that are like mid 40s to mid 50s, I would say, in this band now. But Jeff he's getting older, so he's come back with an old band of his and come back and done some stuff. That was pretty cool. So I wish him luck, and I would like to see him do some Purgatory or some older stuff also because I really like that stuff too, and he's still out there doing it. But I kind of hold out hope that he's going to come back to Mushroomhead. Maybe they do they did a Super Buick 20th anniversary party where everybody had to. There was actually a dress code. Everybody had to dress up and wear a tie. You had to wear a tie to this thing.
Okay.
So I didn't go, but I know plenty of people that went. I kind of regret that I didn't go, but it was in 2016. So I'm kind of thinking, oh, maybe next year they do some kind of cool. They did like a Super Buick like 30th anniversary thing, and maybe
I
get
would go to
everybody
that.
back. I
I'd
know,
go.
right? Like I would totally go to that. So I don't
Yep.
care if it's in the middle of summer or for Halloween or whenever. I'm kind of holding out hope that they do something like that. While they all still can, they're all
Right.
still around, except JJ. So they're all still around, but that would be really cool. Anyway, I like I said, I like Doom Goose. Skippers for me, kind of lost my place there. I went off on a tangent again. Skippers for me are Grand Gesture is long and pretty boring here. Hallucination. Hallucination. I can't even
Yep.
say that one. I didn't like that one. Shame in a Basket is another attempt to redo kind of previous greatness that just falls really flat and is way too long. It's like 8 minutes and 22 seconds. They try to make it seem like a slower Mushroomhead song like earlier on, or like kind of destroy the world around me kind of thing. It just doesn't work. And it's way too long. So I had this album as a B minus. I have it number 8. It's quite a bit better though than Wonderful Life. I definitely want to make sure I say that again, but it will never approach their previous output. Um, I feel like I've kind of cooled a lot on this album since it came out. I pounded this into my skull and convinced myself I really liked it when it first came out. I remember texting you and Hendo, and I was like, dude, the more I listen to this, the more I like it.
Yeah.
But then I listened to it for like 3 weeks, like all the time, and I started to like it. And then, like, now I listen to it, I'm like, what was I thinking? Man, it's really not that good, but it didn't hold up well for me. So, anyway, I have this as B minus number 8. What did you think I called the devil?
So this actually, I like the sound of it. I think it's a well-produced album,
agree.
which I think really, really helps. And it's heavy. The guitars are real heavy here.
Dave's back for sure.
Yes. Definitely, those are two huge positives for it. It does have a few really, really good songs. It's very long. It's an hour and 13 songs. It doesn't need to be that long.
No.
I do like Eye to Eye. I think is a cool opener. Fall in
Yeah,
Line.
I
Fall in
waffle
Line
on
is
that
good.
one all the
Yeah.
time if I really like it or not. Sometimes I listen to it, I'm like, I really like the song. Other times I'm like, did I really like it? I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, it's a cool opener.
Yeah. It's heavy for sure.
It is heavy for sure, and I think that's why I like it. They come out swinging, which is good. Fall in Line is really, really good. We Don't Care, I really like. Prepackaged is another one I think is actually pretty cool. Hideous is the last one I really, really like. Everything else to me is kind of eh. Either I like parts of it or it just doesn't really stand up to me. It's a solid album. Again, I probably wouldn't really have listened to this if I didn't know you, right? Like, I feel like because it came out when we were pretty new into the podcast, and I was like, I'm going to listen to it. I'm going to give it a shot. But to me,
I talked it up a lot. I really
you
did.
did.
And I probably shouldn't have, but I
No,
did. I got excited.
It's fair. No, it's fair. I
Yeah.
mean, it's a band that you really, really have liked in the
Yeah.
past. So
I think I really wanted to like it more than
Yeah.
it's really good, you know?
that's. I think we've all kind of done that before. But to me, it's number 7. I think it's pretty good. It still has some wiggle room, but probably it's gonna, if anything, maybe drop down maybe to 8. You
Yeah.
know, it's again. I feel like my top 6 of this band are really solid, and
Same, man.
don't
Same
really
thing.
think that it's gonna ever change. Maybe some order, but these
The
bottom
bottom
3
three
are
are much
pretty
much
solid.
separated. Yep.
Yep. So yeah, to me, number 7, C plus, something like that. Again, it's not as bad as as I thought it was going to be. Just to me, Wonderful Life is just like you said. To me, it felt like that was the end. And with this being a little better than that, again, I give them credit. They're still out creating music and out doing it, but it would have to be like a special show for me to go out and see, where Jeff is back. Like you get Jeff and Jay back for a show or something. Like I would go to that. I wouldn't miss
Yep.
that. But otherwise, and I think I sent you the Sonic Temple lineup. I think they're on
Yes,
that too.
they are.
So
They are.
so if I go to that, I may see them there, and I can give an update to see what's going on with them.
Awful
But
awful lineup, by the
yeah,
way. Awful.
yeah,
Sunday is great. Mushroom is not on Sunday, but Sunday's great. Like kind of all throughout the day. There's highlights, and every other day, dude. There's
yeah, I
some
saw it.
headliners I can't believe, and then there's
Yeah.
other bands I'm like, oh man,
I saw it. I was like, yeah, I don't think H is going to be going to this one.
oh
It's,
yeah,
it's a lot of like newer stuff that it's just not your thing.
yeah. I don't know. I feel like that's still kind of outnumbered by these bands that are kind of tired, and
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
kinda
For sure. There's a lot of stuff that they're trying to still
cooked.
make.
They're cooked.
Well,
you know.
Mushroomhead, I mean, maybe fit into that category.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. You're right. You're
where
right.
it's
Maybe they
just-
deserve to be on one of these earlier
maybe,
days, but
yeah.
there's like Simple Plan and
Yeah,
like this.
all those stuff. That
I
whole
mean,
first day.
what are we doing?
It's a
I
lot
mean,
of those
really?
type of emo-y type
God,
bands and stuff.
My
like-
Chemical Romance. I know they're making a comeback, and I know they had a huge following, but
Yeah.
really in 2026,
Yeah.
really, like, I come on, man.
Yeah, there's some.
It's really disappointing.
Yeah,
There are some highlights here and there for sure, but
sure.
oof.
All right,
Anyway,
partner.
overall, let's go 9-1. Number 9 for me is A Wonderful Life. Pretty easily.
Yeah.
Then 7 and 8 kind of are separated from them. I have 8 at Call the Devil. At 7, I have Beautiful Stories for Ugly Children. And then I start getting into the better stuff. Number 6, I have Righteous and the Butterfly. And then at 5, I have M3. And then at 4, I really like Save Your Sorrow. At 3, I have the self-titled Mushroomhead. And then the 2 that are kind of separated from those are 13 at number 2 and Super Buick at number 1. I can never get tired of Super Buick. Like I said, like a movie flows through my head of the live shows when I listen to that album. Like I can't not think of all these memories that I have. Like it's so good. I wish that I could share that with everybody. Like I really do. I wish that I could somehow project that and share it with everybody. I wish I had recordings of all these shows that I saw that I could share with people, because it's just, you wouldn't believe it unless you were there. And you mentioned that, a few times during the podcast, that you can't explain how great it was unless you were there. And I mean, people say that, but it's really true.
Yeah.
It really is.
It was like a local phenomenon.
Oh man, it's just, it was so good. And to be able to see it so many times, like we're so lucky.
Yep.
So lucky. I want to mention real quick a couple other bands. We mentioned 216, I think, briefly. Kind of a hardcore band with J-Man, Skinny, Dave Felton, Gravy, and Pig Venus are the 4 guys in this really, really good local metal band called 216. Look for that. 10,000 Cadillacs, which we also mentioned is the rap thing with J-Man and Skinny. Runt with Dave, Gravy, Felton, and my buddy that grew up down the street from me, Dan. Dismo, they played guitar in a band called Runt. They were really good. If you look up Devil Child, you'll find them. And then some contemporary local bands that kind of helped raise up, and were also really good for me, were Crypt Kicker and also Medieval. Medieval has 2 outstanding albums out, and Crypt Kicker has a whole bunch of stuff out. It's very Crypt Kicker's very in this season is very Halloween related. They didn't wear masks and stuff on stage, but they have all these horror movie clips in their album. So that was kind of, I think, inspired by Mushroomhead also. But yes, Expiration Date by Medieval is fantastic album. It's kind of power metal, but it's just straight up heavy metal, but it's so good. So there's a whole bunch more, but those are some of the highlights. I had to get those in there. What was your overall Mushroomhead ranking?
Another band I'll throw in there. It was a little tied to Mushroomhead. I really liked them back in the late '90s. Integrity was another one.
Yeah, very hardcore.
Very
That's like New York
hardcore.
style hardcore. Yeah.
Yep, they were very hardcore, but they
That
had
J-Man was J-Man in that for a little while.
no. I don't. It was the Felton Brothers for sure,
Okay.
and then I think
who
the
singer
vocalist that Rockhorst, it was like the bass player for a while.
Okay.
I think that's how he ended up with the band later on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was kind of into him. I was never like super into him because it's not really my style of music. But
Not mine either. They were super popular though. They
Yeah.
were selling out shows, Odeon, Agora, all over the place around the city, and actually got big.
They did,
pretty
yeah.
big, and got regional. And they would
Yeah.
kind of disappear and play for a while. I was never really into them because it was a little too kind of hardcore for me, which I'm not into. Kind of gets towards the edges of punk a little bit, and it's just not my thing.
Yep.
But
yes,
all right. Also really popular.
I'm gonna give Brian. Brian had to leave, but he gave me his top 9, so I'll give
nice.
Him
Read them off. Let's go.
Number 9 for him was 13, which I thought was
that's
strange,
crazy. But hey, it's everybody's different.
Yeah. Number 8, he had Beautiful Stories, Ugly Children. Number 7, Call the Devil. Number 6, Save Your Sorrow. Number 5, Righteous and the Butterfly. Number 4, he had Wonderful Life. I'd like to ask him about why he liked that one.
I wish he was still here to ask him about that one.
Number 3, self-titled. Number 2, Super Buick. Number 3, M3. That was Brian's 9 to 1.
M3?
Number 1 was M3, yes.
I thought you said number 3, M3. I'm like, what?
Number 1, M3, sorry.
Gotcha.
My 9 to 1, I had number 9, I had A Wonderful Life. Number 8, I had Beautiful Stories for Ugly Children. Number 7, Call the Devil. Number 6, Save Your Sorrow. Number 5, I had the self-titled Mushroomhead. Number 4, The Righteous and the Butterfly. Number 3, M3. Number 2, I had the same as you, 13. And number 1, same as you, Super Buick. So that's my 9 to 1. I honestly had a feeling that we would be pretty on with this. I just feel like it's just kind of, I think if you were there from at least sort of the beginning, John, you liked Integrity too. I dug them. Yeah, I thought, it was very chaotic, and I think for the time I liked that. I thought it was really different and was like, okay, that's cool. I've seen a few shows, probably at the Odeon or Peabody's.
I think I only saw them one time, and they were on something where it was a bunch of local acts. I don't know if Chimera. There was a bunch of local acts, and they were there too.
Yeah,
and I'm like, oh, I finally got exposed to live Integrity.
Right?
They were decent, but it's just not kind of my thing. But Johnny knows that.
Yep.
For sure.
And all the other like the other Cleveland bands I didn't really like them until they got big. So it's kind of hard to consider.
Were you into Crypt Kicker at all?
I was not really into Crypt Kicker. I was into Chimera, of course, but I was really into the band Switched. Did you ever listen to them?
Some. Yeah, not much though.
I thought their first album was freaking awesome. I loved it.
From?
Where are they from?
Switched.
Strongsville or
okay.
Hold on, I'm gonna check real quick. But they're
I know most of the Chimera guys were Strongsville guys.
Yeah. It just says Cleveland. I don't know. Okay. But yeah, I was a huge fan of theirs, and I know the singer Ben Schigel, I know, was involved in a lot of the production of a lot of different stuff, and Switched
Spider Studios, I think. He's a
So.
producer.
Yep.
Ben Schigel, he's definitely a Strongsville guy. I know who that is.
Yep. And then so I actually met a lot of the guys, and I met a lot of guys in Chimera too. My buddy Steve worked for some company with the Odeon production company or something. So I worked the merch booth for a Switch show, which was kind of funny how I ended up that.
Nice.
But they had the drummer who ended up being in Breaking Benjamin. His name was Chad Zeglia, really cool guy, and they had Corey Lowry as well as their bass player early on, who is the brother of Seven Dust's guitar player and also was in other bands we've talked about before. Corey was in.
Yeah, Corey, was he in Stereo Mud? Like,
Yep.
he's been in a bunch of bands. Yeah, I like Corey.
Call Me
Corey
No
Lowry.
One.
Yep.
He was actually in Seether too.
Yep. And Corey and Clint are really, really underrated.
Yep.
Players, very underrated. Like, I like both
Stuck
of those
Mojo
guys.
and Dark New
Oh
Day.
my god! How can I not remember Stuck Mojo?
Yep.
Corey Lowry, Stuck Mojo is one of my favorite bands of that time period too. I love Stuck Mojo.
Yeah.
I've seen him a bunch of times. Oh my goodness, Stuck Mojo, the Duke.
Yep.
Oh my goodness.
Yep. But that first Switched album, I still will listen to that once in a while. It's really, really good. It's really kind of.
I don't have it. I missed that one somehow.
Yeah, definitely check it out. It's called like Subject to Change or something like that.
What's it sound like?
It's just write it down, pop it in, go on to Spotify. Check out Subject to Change. I think it's a really cool sounding album. It's new metal-ish. It's of its time, of 2000, early 2000s. So you might recognize it.
Maybe. Yeah, I was gonna say maybe I'll listen to it and be like, oh, I know what this is, but it's not ringing a bell for me.
Right.
Getting old though,
Good stuff. Yeah. So good shout out to Cleveland bands and
definitely. Yeah, we had to get them in here because we're not going to do obviously a medieval, podcast or even a Crypt Kicker podcast.
Right.
But God, I love me some Crypt Kicker, man.
Yeah.
I remember one time I went and saw Chickenfoot, which is Sammy Hagar band with Joe Satriani, the drummer from the Chili Peppers, and
Chad Smith.
Michael Anthony on bass, I think, right? And then, Chad Smith. So I saw them at the Rock Hall on this stage outside. And I think this was the last time I ever did this. This had to be 2009, I think, somewhere around there. I think it's the last time I ever saw I went and saw two like metal shows in the same night. So I saw that one, and then I knew Crypt Kicker was playing at the Agora Ballroom right before they closed the Agora Ballroom the same night. And I'm like, they're not going to go on till later. So I went to Chickenfoot. I drove over to the Agora. I'm like, I'm just going to check this out. I'm going to see if I can get in there before they go on. And I went up there. I went to the front door, and there's always selling tickets. I went over to the side, kind of where the bands kind of hang out over on the side of the building. And I'm like, hey, did Crypt Kicker go on yet? And they're like, no, they're coming on next. Do you want to see them? I'm like, yeah, I want to see them. They just let me walk in there, and I walked up. And I have a bunch of pictures too of like the stage setup. I walked up, I stood like one person back from the stage and watched them play their whole set, and it was awesome. It was absolutely awesome. I couldn't believe it. And they had just gotten back together after, I don't know, 8 years of not playing out or whatever, and they sounded amazing. I bought a shirt. I was like, it was the coolest thing. It just happened because I drove over there and I'm like, let me go check it out. You just never know, so it was so fun. But I saw them again last summer at the Winchester Crypt Kicker. They got back together. And then they just put out a new album, I think, over the summer. And I didn't make it to that show I think that was at the Winchester also, where they had the CD release. I did not make it to that one, but it's not even on Spotify yet, so I can't listen to it. But it's out. So they finally put out a new record, too, which is pretty cool. So
nice.
Shout out to Crypt Kicker, man. I love Crypt Kicker. They're really good.
Awesome.
All right. I don't know if we have anything else to cover.
No, I think that's it. Just a reminder to everybody, we will not be here next week. I have to travel for work. So we're going to take a week off.
But you might see.
I might see Avatar.
You might see Avatar.
They are playing out in Scottsdale area where I will be at for the week. So I mean, it's going to probably take something like something that I can't even imagine happen where I can't do it because of work or whatever. But yeah, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it's going to happen. So
you got to. They're not coming here. Their new album drops on Friday. You have a whole flight to listen to the whole thing.
Yep.
You got to go to that. I got to see pictures, a little video, something.
Yep.
Oh man.
All
maybe
right.
I'll even have you give me a shirt. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe we'll see. Okay.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, man.
So then we'll come back the following week. Hopefully with our buddy Hendo, we're going to do 9 Inch Nails.
We are.
a favorite of mine and Brian's for sure. We'll get Mr. H's take on it. All the cool kids are doing it. Probably. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't
he'll
know
be
what
the
else
oldest
they'd be
one there
doing.
probably, but no, he won't. I would be, but you won't be.
Right. Fair enough.
Oh,
All right,
man.
everybody.
Good stuff.
Once again, we've been the Two Bobs Cast, and we thank you for joining us, and we will see you in the next one.
Rock on.
Looks like you've been missing a lot of work lately.
I wouldn't say I've been missing it, Bob.
What would you say you do here?
God damn it. Mom, we love playing here tonight. My brother's ready.
It helps if you think of it as a game, Bob. Every game has a winner and a loser.
You must possess strength to inflict pain, Bob.